where every week we interview a successful coach and break down their business. We take you behind the scenes in their marketing, advertising, and sales campaigns. We show you what's working. We show you their frameworks, their proven strategies, so you can implement them in your business to grow. Now let's bring on this week's guest. Here is your host, Luke Charlton. Hey, this is Luke Charlton here, and welcome back to another episode of the Six Figure Coaches Show. Very excited to have you here, and very excited to have on today's guest, who I'll bring up in just a moment. The reason why I'm excited today is because we're going to talk about something that we don't touch on too much, just generally, I think, and that is being able to scale your business in a way where you're not scaling yourself, right? Where you're not taking up all of your time and your mental workload, where you can actually, it's the old saying, right? Working on your business, not in your business. So how do you actually systemize your coaching business? How do you actually hire the right staff to deliver for you while you can enjoy time with your family? And this, again, it's something that we coaches, so a lot of us coaches are solo professionals, right? And but as you grow and scale, you do need to learn these skills so that you're not totally bogged down in your business, so your business doesn't run you and run your life, right? Yes, it's good to help people, but it's also you also need to know how to make your business work for you, as opposed to you working for your business. You don't want another job, in other words. So in a moment, I'm excited to bring on today's guest, because we're going to talk about how he's done that with his business. Now, just before I bring on today's guest, remember these episodes premiere inside the Hermit Hole every week, so every Tuesday. So if you want to see them go live inside the Hermit Hole, the private Facebook group, just go over to thehermithole.com, and there's a lot of other free trainings and resources to help you grow your coaching business, like high ticket offer workshop, the 9 email offers that get coaching clients for free, the 1 sentence offer that signs $5,000 clients, plus my other podcast in there goes, my 15-minute client podcast goes in that group as well. So there's a lot of trainings in there to help you grow your coaching business. So go to thehermithole.com and it'll take you straight to that free community. Okay, so with that being said, let's bring on today's guest. So let me bring up his bio. He's got a lot of experience here. So he's the founder and CEO of Cyberbacker, which is a company that initially started out helping coaches, like a virtual assistant company, helping coaches to grow and scale their business. He was previously a real estate executive, part of over 1,500 transactions. He's a business coach, helping several clients earn over 7 figures. He's been on the cover of top 100 US business leaders, and again, the top 100 innovators and entrepreneurs inducted into the prestigious marquee Who's Who biographical registry, ranked number 6 in founders and CEO in LAY, and was featured in the Wall Street Journal and Forbes Business Council, and is a contributor there as well. So I'm excited to bring on today's guest, Craig Goodliffe, or Goodliffe, sorry.
Depends on the book. Sometimes it is a good life.
Okay. Is it Goodliffe or Good Life?
Or
maybe it's not even one of those.
Yeah, when I'm in sales, it's Good Life, because they remember that. When it's real and it's family, it's Goodliffe.
Goodliffe.
But
okay.
People try to spell that with an S. So
anyway. Really?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show. Excited to have you here. All right. So before we get into your current business, the Cyberbackers, let's chat about how you actually got into coaching, because a big part of what I wanted to discuss today with you is, like, how do you, as I said before, how do you run a successful coaching business where it's not taking up all of your time, but you can still do the things that you love to do, but as it's not running your life. So can you just tell us how you got into coaching initially? Like, what was your background, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, I am a coach. I just happen to have done a few other things, but if you want to know what makes a great business leader, it's a great coach. Yeah. And I got into coaching back in 2005, and I went out and I was looking for someone to help me get better. And I hired a great coach, changed my life. And I've always had a coach since 2005. And started coaching in 2007 with a company called Set Intent. They didn't make it through the Great Recession. And then in 2015, I got back into the coaching space, and I've coached over 10,000 hours now. I love coaching. I love what I do. And so that's my crew. So makes me more excited to be here with you.
Cool. So who do you coach? Is it all types of businesses, or is it like coaches, or like who's your market?
My roster is full of people who they're business owners. First and
Hmm.
foremost, they own a business. And
Yeah.
so we'll focus on things like how to generate more business. We'll look at profit and loss, reducing expenses. We'll look at organizational hires, who to hire, what to have them do, what KPIs or key performance indicators to hold them accountable to, how to
Yeah.
structure our budget. So that's who I coach and who I enjoy working with.
Okay, cool. And do you get your clients, as I said, you run also run a virtual assistant company as well. So do you
Yeah.
source your clients through that business as well, or how does that work? How do you market your business?
Yeah, for a while, I've been kind of on the hold button because I don't have the luxury of having more hours in a day to take on more clients. And
Yeah.
yeah, for a long time, taking on more clients was having a great team manage my social media, do emails, content, and all the things that you do to go ahead and source new clients. Even the
Yeah.
old fashioned, just picking up the phone and saying, "Would you like a free consultation?"
Yeah.
Having people.
This is like, wow, it's funny that you bring that up because so I have a setter, right? So someone that books appointments for me, and he gets on the
Yeah.
phone, and literally, like, I kid you not, 5 minutes before this interview right now, I was writing one of the scripts for him to use when he dials out. And one of that scripts is when someone opts in, say, for your lead magnet, like a free guide, right?
Mhm.
You call them and say, hey, did you get the free guide? Number one, make sure that they got the free guide. And then number two is basically the script is, the first thing when someone comes into the community is, number one, we want to make sure that they got the free guide. Number two, we want to offer them a free customized marketing plan to help them get more clients if that's something that you're open to. So you literally just like get on the phone and make that offer. What I found when I did that is, like, most people will be open to it. Some will say no, I'm okay right now, but most people will say yes. So anyway, just touching on what you said there, I think that's a great strategy. Is you just get on the phone and make an offer to help someone, and then eventually you will, with the right offer, you will get you'll be able to convert those into clients.
I 1,000% agree, because that would get me. And
Yeah,
ultimately, everything I've done to source new clients is what would get me. And if you called
yeah,
me and said, "Can we have a free call? Can we talk about your business?" I'm in.
yeah. How can I help? Basically, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Coming from
Love that.
contribution.
Okay, cool. So tell me about your VA business that started off helping coaches and then expanded to other businesses. So when did you launch Cyberbackers? How long has that been around for?
So I've been hiring globally since 2012,
Yeah.
so 11 years now. But in 2017, I was on a call with a coach, and every Tuesday we had a call. We would talk about who we're coaching, what we're experiencing, and different things like that. And she said, "I got to ask you something." I said, "What's that?" She says, "We both are coaching 67 people right now." I said,
Mm.
"Okay." And we did. Sometimes it'd go to 70, and that's kind of the break where your therapist is going to tell you to take a giant step back and don't do that. But 67 with a 30-minute call every week, that was intense. And she says,
That
"I'm
is
doing that.
intense. Yeah.
You also have a real estate business. You also do group training. You do group
Yeah.
coaching.
Yeah.
And more importantly, you have nights and weekends off." She
Yeah.
says, "What are you doing when I'm not? I'm working from when I wake up to when I go to bed 7 days a week." And then
Yeah.
I told her, "Look, I've got a great assistant." And she says, "What does that mean?" And
Yeah.
I'm going to let you in a little bit of my secret. Like right here, this is my
Yeah.
great assistant, this is Jenny.
Is she on live
And you're
right now?
Yeah, she's live right now. She's right here.
Yeah.
But you're typing the email, and dude, great job. You're better than me. For me, I'm just gonna say Jen, and I'm gonna tell her here's what I need her to do, so I can be 100% here with my coaching client. And I take notes on my calls. I take a lot of notes. She's
Yeah.
also taking notes. And I can tell you, Luke, I'm gonna do something for you. She's my promise keeper, saying, "Okay, we're gonna do this." And she's the one that reminds me, "Hey, they said they were gonna do this. Let's check in on that piece of accountability."
Yeah. Oh, dude, I've been thinking about, I like one of the, my, I even though I'm an email guy, I hate being in my inbox. And
Oh, me too.
that sounds like a dream of like just having someone that can just, and all the little, little like issues that you get with, your accountant says, oh, can you get this little thing for me? Or like, these little like annoying tasks that only really you can do. Like, but if you had an assistant with you there most of the time, that was kind of like part of your life, that would be, it sounds like a dream. So she's with you like for 8 hours a day. Is that how it works?
Well, sometimes we go more and sometimes I take a day off. Like I
Yeah.
literally coordinate my schedule with my assistant. If
Yeah.
she's like, hey, I'm going to take a day, I'm like, sweet, take us
Yeah.
both. But for me, we have an understanding of a successful day. I might use a mouse to log into a meeting, but
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and not touch the computer.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff she's going to, run me.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds awesome. So, okay. So let's say we're talking to a, because I like this topic where for the coaches listening, we're talking about, right, getting your time back, and being able to get your time back and work on just the things that you're really good at. It actually helps you scale, right? And when you're just working on your kind of genius zone. So a solo coach, what would you recommend that getting a VA like that to be that involved would be a good first hire, or would it be someone more, like helping you with tech or something like what level of a coach do you need to be to have this type of assistant working by your side?
I think it's how organized and skilled you come to the table with as a coach.
Okay.
I'm not going to pretend that I'm anything special.
Mm-hmm.
I say some good things, but for me, it's important that my clients know I care. And so telling them happy birthday, telling them, hey, how'd you do in the marathon you were going to run? Hey, you said you were going to do this, and checking in even through text messages. I needed help with those little things.
Yeah.
And they needed help with the little things someone would say that I didn't pick up on till later. And so for me, that had to be my first hire. For some people, they're like, I got that. I remember how to do that. I'm thoughtful, but I need help sourcing people. And for that person, they might need someone to do that. For some people, I got this confession, Luke, if we're just being honest, dude, I went ahead and I ran this program way back when called, what was it? Rescue Time. And it tells you how much time you're spending on different websites and what you're doing.
I did that a long time ago. Yeah.
I think we got that from 4-Hour Work Week.
It's embarrassing. Yeah.
No, well, the embarrassing part is it said I was spending 32 hours on social media every week.
Yeah.
And last I checked, they weren't paying me. And so
exactly.
having someone help handle that was life-changing. So it kind of depends on the space you're in.
Okay, interesting. Now, with the coaches that you brought onto Cyberbackers, where did you find that they needed, obviously, because you were hiring, are your VAs skilled in specific areas, or is it just like whatever the coach needs help with, like building funnels or whatever? Do you train them based on I'm kind of asking a couple of different questions there. Like, I guess our first question is, the coaches that you initially started working with, where did you find that they needed the most help in general? And then how did the VAs fit in with them?
Well, for most of the coaches I started with, and right now we've got a couple hundred coaches we support. We're just shy of 3,500 clients.
Yep. Cool.
And one thing that's the most common was just their own personal, they were like me, scattered and organized. And when they could go and disorganized, when someone could go ahead and send them an email in the morning with their itinerary, at this time you're doing this, at this time you have a call with this client, here's what you've got to make sure to talk about. And starting with that itinerary and having them there, like Jen is with me, being the promise keeper, was what people wanted the most. That is probably the number one job. And that's all originally Cyberbacker was ever going to be.
Sorry, her name is it Jenny, did you say?
Yeah.
Jenny. Okay. So is Jenny your only, obviously you got a whole company of VAs. Do you have other kind of VAs working for you doing other things, or is Jenny just the main one? Okay, cool. So so let's say for a coaching business, you've got your kind of like your personal assistant. Mm-hmm. What other hires do you see a lot of coaching, coaches hire for their business versus just a personal assistant?
So just for me, Jen's the one who runs everybody else and what they do. But some coaches, they want to do great podcasts, great quality podcasts for their clients, be able to reach out to people, go there. That's a big one we see. Some great coaches, they're writing books and they need someone who's a ghostwriter. They want someone who can take what they talk about with their clients and take that material and turn it into book content.
Yeah.
Some of them, they want to use it to boost their PR. They want blogs written and stuff like that. And it makes sense to have someone like a Jenny. So when you're having conversations, someone can take a common thing that you coach towards and be able to put it out there in a way that someone can read it and find you as a coach. But
Okay.
it kind of varies on what media do you want to be heavy on. So
Okay. Interesting.
so I have, for just me, I've got 3 people that handle my social media team.
Yeah.
I've got Jen that handles my everything digital, and she's
Yeah.
the one who communicates with them. But I've got bookkeepers, I've got people that help me with money. As the weird things that I do, I own a few other businesses, and the way that I run them is I hire a great leader and I just coach them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's kind of my main conduit that connects everything together.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, it was only up until maybe like 4 months ago that I had my first hire. I was just kind of running ads for a small handful of clients for many
Yeah.
years. And I just always hated the uploading the ads part and like the tech, like just all the tech stuff. So I hired someone and it was like the most amazing. It almost felt like almost like guilty in a way because it's like I feel like I should be doing something. I'm like earning really good money from my clients and my the campaign manager is doing all like the hard work. It feels like as I said I feel kind of guilty, but it feels so good to be able to like have that work released from me, and now I can actually work with more clients, work on the things that actually make money instead of uploading ads and that type of thing, sending out more emails or getting on more sales calls, etc. So as I said, it feels like when you hire someone, it's costing you, but it actually allows you to earn far more income. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
people, if you look, they look for tactics like I want to flip houses, which means I want to pay a reduced amount of money
yeah,
to improve something and be able to get more. A house, a car. I know people that they flip computers and gadgets and tech and they buy at a
yeah,
reduced price and sell for more. And when you're investing in people, you're kind of, and this is a kind of harsh thing to say, but you're doing the same thing. I'm looking at, I can pay you this. And if I
mm,
do that, here's the return I'm going to get out of that. But you still have to do the same work, just like if you were flipping a house where you have to make improvements.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
hiring people, coaching them, helping them become better people, because
yeah,
your business grows to the extent of the people around you. So like
yeah,
Jenny, she's one of my closest friends in the world. And when she came to me once and she says, I want to buy a hectare of property, I want to invest and I want to buy
yeah,
some land.
yeah,
I said,
yeah,
okay, let's figure out how you do that. And we worked together and she was able to do that.
yeah.
And
Awesome. Yeah,
yeah, and talking about what books is she reading, what's she doing to better herself, and just how do I improve and pour into people who are giving their time to me to benefit me, my business, all things that I want to do.
yeah. It's again, it's like a new thing that I'm experiencing. The other thing that you get is like because you're pouring so much time into them, it's like obviously you want to coach them. You want because the better that they do, the better they're going to do for your clients and your
Oh,
business. And then there's
yeah.
other fear on the other side is like I'm putting so much time into you, but you don't leave, right? So it's you're then afraid of them leaving because they become so valuable to you, and then they're going to have these high levels of skills, which is great. So then you have to work. Actually, maybe that's the next discussion is like, how do you ensure that once you put all that time and effort and money into an employee, that they don't leave? I guess that comes to the culture and building a real relationship with them, like you just mentioned. So what do you do to ensure that they love working with you and staying with you, even though they know that, because eventually they're going to know that they're really valuable to you and they're going to have these skills. So how do you get them to stay?
Well, so there's three big things we focus on. One's recruiting the right people. We get 20,000 applicants per week from the Philippines. We do 5,000 interviews. We'll probably hire less than 50 per week. That's every week. Second, training, coaching, everything to make them great. And the third piece is retention. So we have a profit share program where after 5 years and they're vested, they get that every month for the rest of their life. We do loans through Cyber Capital where we loan them money to buy houses and cars, and we profit share the interest, and we charge less than banks charge for interest.
Wow.
And then we have healthcare, where if you're in the Philippines, that's kind of a big deal. And so when they have those things, they don't necessarily want to leave that. Plus, we give them opportunities. We call them head backers that coach, train, and lead cyberbackers to make them better. And so they're more invested in the relationship because when you're helping someone, I think a lot of us, we enjoy helping, but we don't like asking for help. And when someone asks you for help, in fact, when a cyberbacker goes to a head backer and says, help me, that head backer becomes invested in their success. And people don't leave relationships. I mean, it's exactly what you were saying earlier, because you said when I train them and all that, and I spend all this time with them and all that. In other words, when I invest in that relationship, well, the more invested they get in the relationship, the less likely they are to leave.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
a financial piece where they've got to be able to see some financial opportunities and growth.
Yeah.
And they've got to see that inside your world, they can go ahead and hit every single one of their goals, because people leave either when the relationship goes sour, or they wake up one day and say, I can't achieve everything I want as long as I exist in your world.
Yeah. So
People don't leave companies that have a plan where they can go ahead and, scale up to making $1 million a year, but companies don't have that, which is why people leave for better opportunities.
yeah, absolutely. Then that's why I left the corporate world. It's actually government, like the 9 to 5 is the only way I could move up is if someone died or retired. Like I'm not kidding. Like in the government, as you know, people just stay in their roles because it's just a cushy job and you don't have to do anything. And I was just like, this is not for me. I wasn't growing, and so that's why I left. So so that's a big one is opportunity. Another one I've heard as well is, which you kind of touched on it there, is that people, when they feel that they don't have like a voice, like when they're like, people want to feel like they've got input, right? And then the people listen to the input and it's actually acted upon as well. They like to feel like they're actually useful. Funny, right? That they're actually useful within the company. So if they feel like they're useful, if they voice their opinion and they're heard and it's taken on board and acted upon, sometimes that gives them a lot of satisfaction within their role. So monetary, like, yes, you need to pay them well, but that's also a huge factor as well. Would you say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, but can you pay them well? And I think there's a lot of people out there that are looking for residual and passive income.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you see a lot of companies don't do that. And the way we built it is we just took our number one biggest problem and said, we're going to base our profit sharing on solving that problem. And when we did that, which ours is finding great people.
Yeah.
Let's see, last year, we're still finalizing the books, but our profit share is just shy of 600,000. We stayed kind of level. We profit shared at the end of 2021, $647,000 back to our associates.
Yeah.
So when there's big numbers like that, and a lot of them, I mean, they're earning more through their profit share than they are through their just JOB.
Yeah.
They're more invested in helping the company grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, one of the things, so obviously hiring is a big part of being able to get your time back, right? And doing it the right way. But to grow a business of 3,500 clients, there's obviously a lot of systems and pros. Like, was it 20,000 applicants, right? So to get 20,000 applicants, was it a week or a month?
Week, 20,000 a week.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah,
a week. Like, you have to have some serious like processes down. So do you want to talk to coaches? You must have like every single, it's almost like, because when I went to my first job was McDonald's, and they have a manual like for everything, for managing, for making burgers, everything. It's just like everything's a checklist basically. Checklist for everything, process for everything. And that's how you're able to scale McDonald's, right? That's all kind of franchises. And that's what the whole E-Myth book is about. We coaches don't really approach our business that way because we're just so focused on it. I just need some clients. Like, I just need some money in the beginning. And it's only once we start getting more consistent clients that we're working instead like 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week doing stuff we shouldn't be doing. Then we realize, oh, we need to hire people. Oh, I need to start systemizing. So how do you approach that? Do you create the processes, or do you have people that do it for you? Like, what's the best things to create process for in the beginning?
Yeah. So I think the best analogy I can give anyone is it's like building a road, and you start with a single lane, and then you just get to where it's going. You've got no potholes. It's smooth and it's going. And then you add a lane. And what you're seeing right now is the result of me adding lanes since 2018. Every week we're looking at our numbers and saying, how do we grow it? And how do we grow it? And originally, it was all me. But when you're hiring from the Philippines, which we hire primarily from the Philippines, you need a company over there, because if not, someone can leave. They can steal your intellectual property. Unless you have an entity, you cannot legally enforce any sort of agreement or contract if you're foreign. And so setting that up, that was like the first thing. And I'll admit I screwed that up because I had someone that I hired that went ahead and started a competing company, and we ended up in a bad situation, and I couldn't do anything because I was foreign and I didn't have legal entity in the Philippines.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got that going. The next thing is I says, well, where's the people? Where do I find them? Well, I'm looking for people that they're willing to stay up late. They've done it. They've interacted with Americans, so they know how we're going to be. They've interacted with Canadians, so they know how they are, and they understand different quirks based on the different places people are in the world. And what I found was the call centers in the Philippines, that had the person that ideally could be a good cyberbacker. So I went over there, and originally I would stand outside the call centers and get to know them. But that's not going to get you 20,000 people a week. But when we put up billboards, that started getting it up there. When we went ahead, we took what's the biggest problem we have? Well, some people don't have a computer and internet. So we opened a physical location in the Philippines, which we call them hubs, where someone can go in there and they can work until they can save the money. And we can see they're worth investing in to get it set up at home. But you just are constantly saying, who is the next person I'm after? Where do I find them? And what do they need from me to want to come work with me? And you just keep going every single week.
And so it's about, so you lead with, like, when you say that, does that mean like putting a really good offer in front of them on like, here's who we are, here's what makes us different, here's why you kind of want to work for us? Is that what?
Like? Yeah, because when we can go ahead and our billboards, if you're going through the Philippines, and they're video billboards, but we hit where they're stuck in traffic. And we go ahead and we say, if you're working at Cyberbacker, you wouldn't be stuck in traffic. And there's a guy and he's on a webcam like you and I, but then the desk pulls away and you see he's working in his underwear and it's kind of funny. Why now? And that's one of the ways that you do it, because that's a pain point, is being stuck in traffic. And people will do more to avoid pain than gain pleasure. People who've been stuck in traffic every day looking at that billboard finally say, fine, I'm just going to apply. And so that's that one. But that's just one of the channels. And you're just building every week a channel. So every week, since we started the company, we'll measure how many applicants did we get. And some weeks, I can remember we had like 5 applicants and 10 applicants. And it's okay. Well, who's our target? Who are we looking for, and how do we find them? And every week you're asking the same questions, but you've got to keep coming up with different answers.
And so when you say different channels, like, are you running advertising? Like, do you do paid advertising over there?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit, because the person we're looking for, there's a lot of people who work online, and some of them right now, they want to go ahead and work with 10 clients at once. And that hasn't been great when you're working with a coach, because a lot of coaches, we have a lot of demands our clients need from us. And a lot of us want to provide exceptional service. And if you're working with 10 clients, it's hard to serve a coach. And so we went ahead and we looked for people that this is new for them, so we can train them from the beginning. But like, we were out in the Philippines, I think it's called the Philippines Inquirer last week. We were rated the, let's see, what is it, like the 800th or 700th best place to work in the Philippines. Let's see, we were, 172. I'm totally wrong on that. 172. And it's in advertising and print ads. And it's actually going over there. I've been over there several times. That's kind of how we learned those things.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've been over there to Cebu. So do you, because I know a lot of VA companies usually use Davao, like start in Davao, I think it is. Are you all over the Philippines?
Yeah, we're all over. We went ahead and just looked at where we had areas. We've got our physical office is near Pasay, and we do have a hub in Davao. But we just kind of go a little bit of all over.
Yeah, cool. Very nice. And okay, that's cool. So now just a couple more questions, Craig, then we'll wrap up. Now, is there any, like, if a coach is looking to bring on a VA, or maybe they even already have a VA, like, what are some of the things that you would recommend that they do to get the most out of that VA? Or another way you can look at that is, like, what mistakes they're making that they shouldn't be making with their VA.
Well, the first thing is, I think it's getting your calendar right. And if you can't get your calendar right, it's hard for your person to know how to support you. When I say get your calendar right, they know what your responsibilities are when you have those responsibilities and how they can support you. So Jen and she handles everything with my calendar. She handles everything with my communication. She knows when we're working. She knows when we're not. And that's the big thing. So having the calendar set, that's one. The second thing is we evaluate the calendar and we look at what was a good return on investment of time used and what wasn't. And if it wasn't, the question is, can we get someone else to do it? Or does it have to be me? And if we can get someone else to do it, how do we find them and who is it? Like one of the ones, Luke, I don't like answering my phone, but I think it's important when you're advertising your phone number, yet it gets answered.
Yeah.
So another thing we found is having someone just answer the phone.
Yeah.
Jen will go ahead and check in and say, who was it? What did they want? And away we go.
Okay.
But every week you're going through your give up list on what are the things that or you're not getting the best return on investment out of. And your assistants got to know how to support you. So when they say, hey, this one right here, I'm just, might not be a good use of time. And then also the way that you manage, especially if you're hiring from the Philippines, this is going to sound a little controversial, but you're creating conflict. The reason that I've got the relationship I do with Jen is because she is not afraid to tell me to my face I'm acting like an idiot.
Yeah.
And she'll call me out because she knows that we're both in agreement that I've got to show up and be my best every day.
Yeah.
And so if your assistant is not willing to come forward and say, hey, you're wasting time doing this, and hey, maybe we could do this differently and we can maximize your efforts here, then they're not helping you grow. But if they're pushing you, that's when it becomes good. Most people don't push because they don't know how far they could push you, and they're worried their job's on their line if they create any sort of contention.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool. And so I think everyone needs a Jen. I'm like,
yeah.
So you have Jen like just on a different, like on an iPad or something there, like just separate.
Yeah, that's a Facebook portal. And we switched to that because if I leave my office, the camera follows me and she can see I left the office because she would be thinking I was still sitting here. I was just out of her line of sight.
Yeah.
And she'd be talking and I wasn't here.
Yeah. So what's Facebook? What do you mean by Facebook portal? Is that a thing? Like, what is that?
Yeah. Facebook made this device called a portal. Like I can show you the back of it right here. See, portal by Facebook right there. And it just runs Zoom. So she's on Zoom right now.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. It's not a very popular piece of tech because basically it's a fancy tablet.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I know is the less that I can touch and do and interact with something, the more likely I am to leave it alone. So if she was on the computer, sometimes I would minimize her or I'd accidentally close her or something like that.
Yeah.
So having that device is great.
My dream, I think, that's cool. Like something with limited, you know, Dan Kennedy, right? What he does, he doesn't have like an email. He doesn't check, like he just operates off like faxes still, I think. And that's actually like a bit of a dream for me, like to get away from the computer and just have like an assistant that does all the things and just like prints off something. It's like, here's the questions your clients are all asking today. What are the answers? And she goes and kind of gives them the answers. I think that's a hybrid, like with her, like if you have her like or the VA, the assistant, in a portal or something where you could do it that way. Because I was thinking like, do I have to have someone in the actual office to make that happen? Or so you kind of just give me an idea on like how I can actually have an assistant with me, because I've been thinking a lot about that over the last few months, but without them being in the office, right? Because I like to leave the office and go for a coffee or go play with my kids or whatever. So I like that. Too. So
one step further, when I'm driving, if I have to return calls, she dials for me.
Yeah,
it looks like from my phone number. But if someone doesn't answer, she'll fire off a text that said, hey, left you a message, because I don't like leaving voicemails. And if I'm on a call and I tell someone, hey, let me email that to you, she's at her computer. She's going to email it.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So that's it. And then also we have this little bit of a nerd trick. We went ahead and got into telepresence robots because we were having a hard time staffing. And so like I've got a venue I own next door. And I want people to come and interact with this venue because it's a historical place and check it out. But having someone sit there all day would be kind of boring. So we put a Cyberbacker in a telepresence robot in the venue. So they can go in and there's someone from the Philippines.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so they're like just talking to a screen kind of thing.
It kind of looks like a Roomba with a stick and an iPad all put together. But if you want to check it out, it was in Forbes today. They talked about telepresence robots.
Cool.
I wrote an article.
That's such a good idea.
Well, it's you're surrounding yourself with people and you're interacting and coming up with just some of the great ideas of how we go to the next level. And this is just a way we found to do that.
Cool. All right, Craig, our last question. So I asked this to all of our guests, by the way. So you're standing at the top of a mountain, there's thousands of coaches below. You can only shout to them one message for them to be more successful. What is that message?
It's care more about others' success than your own. And I think the heart of a coach, that's exactly it. I think that's why people coach. I don't think
Yeah.
people coach because it's this glamorous thing. I think all of us who coach get this satisfaction that we just love people, we care
Mm.
about them, and even when it sucks, we still want their greatness.
Yeah. Yeah. When they don't
So,
take action a lot of the time.
well, that's why we have coaches, and that's why we
Yeah.
have people to keep it in. But the work we do is sacred, and we
Yeah.
change lives, and it's because we care. And if you care about who you coach and you care about the people you hire to support you, it kind of, as long as that's in the forefront, it's hard to fail.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. All right, Craig. So thanks. I knew this was going to be a great interview. Different than what we typically talk about, which is great, but it's like still super, super valuable. I learned a lot about, hiring and the VA side of things. You've given me some ideas, as I said. So anyway, where can the coaches listening go to learn more about you and Cyberbackers?
Well, if you go out on Facebook or any social media and you send me a message, someone who might be logged in answering questions will definitely reply, or cyberbacker.com is the easy thing. But
Yeah.
if you're a coach and you just want to mastermind and talk about some of this stuff, I'm
Yeah.
always adding my network. Just send me an email, Craig@cyberbacker.com, and let's just have a conversation. I'm here. I love coaching. We do great work. We change lives. And I own a ton of businesses because I hire great people and I just coach them to their best. And
Yeah.
that's the secret. I think all of us, we have that entrepreneurial gift and spirit.
Yeah, very cool. So you built your success really off the back of coaching. It's all coaching, right? Hiring and coaching.
I think that's what it's going to say on my tombstone, that I was a coach.
Yeah.
Because that's first and foremost, that's what it is. I mean, if you look at your great leaders or great coaches, great leaders are great coaches.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, for the coaches listening in, when you're hiring, you're going to have to coach your staff as well, which is you're doing more of what you love to do. So I love that. Anyway, so guys, go check out Cyberbackers. Thanks again, Craig, for coming on. It's a great interview. And for everyone listening in, thanks again for showing up and listening in, and we'll see you on next week's episode. See you then.